guess what showed up today? My crankshaft. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this open. And my blades are in the basement. I don't feel like going down there right now, but so what we basically did was balance this to 14,000 RPM. So ready to get it built back up. It looks like you can tell they took off some material off the edges to get this thing nicely balanced. So I'm going to go ahead and get this thing cleaned up, and we're going to start with the assembly. Stay tuned. Alright guys, welcome back. So quick update. A little bit of bad news, but not so bad. More like I'm going to play it safe. Looking at this rod, this is rod from cylinder number, I want to say 3. And there's a lot of discoloration. There's a little bit of damage on the big end here. I'm going to be sending these rods back to Carrillo to get reconditioned. That's going to set my build back about 4 weeks, I believe. I'm going to get them out tomorrow. They should get them by Friday, and then they're going to do it. I was going to go ahead with this, but my buddy Shane advised me otherwise, so I'm going to go ahead and send them all out and just get them reconditioned. In the meantime, what I'm going to be doing is I got a set of rings coming tomorrow. I'm going to mate the new set of rings with the cylinders that I what do you call that, that I honed. I'm a little tired, guys. That I honed, and after I make the rings, actually that's going to be done tomorrow. As you can see, the crank is back. I washed it earlier. Everything looks great. Journals look great. It's perfect. It's balanced to 14,000 RPM, and she is ready to go. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take these main bearings, and first I'm going to clean the seats for the main bearings, and then actually I started to kind of put one in there. Let me just take that. I'm going to clean it, make sure it's perfectly dry, and you want the seats to be dry so that they don't spin, basically. So I'm going to go over that real quick. I'm going to put the main bearings in. I'm going to put some assembly lube on the shift forks and the shift drum, and maybe even these notches on the transmission cogs. And that's it. And then tomorrow I'll mate the rings to the cylinders, and I think that's going to be it until I get the rods back, which is going to be a few weeks, unfortunately. Something like this, man, it's better safe than sorry, you know. I don't want to go through all of this work and then have to take it apart again and just start knocking or something because I was too impatient or too cheap to do it right. So just give you a quick overview of what I'm going to do now. So basically this bearing is for seats number 2 and 4 on the cases, and if you look on the crank, you see there's holes, oil passage holes, and it will sit on this part of the crank. Okay, and then the other type, I don't think I took it out of the bag yet. If you look at the other type, actually there's that hole. That has a hole too, but it's not grooved. And so the ones that aren't grooved are going to sit in 1, 3, and 5. So, and that's both 1, 3, and 5 for the upper and lower halves. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started on this. I'm gonna set the camera down. The battery is a little bit weak, and get the main bearings in, start lubing this up a little bit, and then I'll be right back. I think the last time I did this build, I used assembly lube. Alright, let's get you guys a closer look. So, quick, sorry guys, the wires all over the place. So, there you have it. This is how the crank will sit in the bearings. However, the rods will be assembled and placed on the crank, and then we'll put the crank back in. Here's the cam chain. I'm simply gonna loop that right around this gear on the crank, get everything lubed up, and gonna double check the O-rings. Actually, I'm gonna replace these two O-rings here. This is the old one there. I already removed this one in this position. Gonna remove that, and we got the bearings in place on this side already. Gonna lube these forks, these shift forks, and the shift chum. And what I like to do is I like to just, sometimes I'll either soak these parts in oil for a little bit so they can get saturated in oil, which is probably what I'm gonna do, or I'll just pour some oil on top of it before I put the halves together. So that's it for this update. I'm going to, again, I'm gonna pull this power cord out. When I get the new rings tomorrow, I'm gonna mate them to the cylinders, and then that's gonna be done. And then once the rods come back from being reconditioned, I'm gonna assemble the rods on the crank, and then we can put the two halves together and start building the motor from the bottom up. So that's gonna be it for this quick clip. But before I go, just wanted to also point out that I didn't do a total tear down. As you can see, I'm sorry there's no light on this side, but I didn't do a total tear down over here. They have some guides in place, and the shift drum was never removed, and the shifting mechanism wasn't removed. So, you know, it wasn't really necessary to get to what I needed to get to when I did the tear down. There's the alternator shaft over there. It's shaping up. Project is shaping up, and the chassis is ready. The chassis is ready for the engine. Got a little airbox mock-up going on, but this is just waiting for the motor. So depending on how quick I get those rods back, guys, we're gonna get it done. I do have a set of stock rods I can use, but I really would prefer to use the Carrillos. Might as well. It's just a stronger product, so I think it'll be worth the wait. Stick with the Carrillos, and that's it. Once that gets back, everything is gonna go up in probably a single day, to be honest. So that's it for now. I'm gonna do one more clip, like I said, just one more quick clip when the piston rings come tomorrow and I check the gaps. But for the most part, engine's gonna sit like this for a couple of weeks. So if you guys have any comments or questions, feel free to post them below, and I'll try to get to them all. As always, thanks for watching.